December 27th, 2009 was the day that my life changed forever. I was at a service in my father's church located just north of Seattle, Washington. It's basically one of those laid-back, charismatic Christian churches where they, speak in tongues and pray for healings and dance and sing for hours. There's even the occasional carpet napper that had fallen over under the anointing. It was pretty interesting. As a child, when I brought my friends to church, they were very entertained, to say the least. We went to at least 4 services weekly. Actually, probably more like 7. I mean, there was Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, youth group, leadership meeting, Bible study, practice for Bible study. You get the point. Then as an adult, I didn't attend regularly. I think I was pretty much burnt out from a lifetime of ministry. But I would go from time to time to hear my daddy preach and expose my then 12-year-old son, Anthony, to the Bible. I was one of those rebellious, stereotypical preacher's daughters that even got pregnant out of wedlock. But at that point, it turned out for the good. Obviously, it's turned out good now. Anthony enjoyed playing music with his grandpa and his uncle after church. He has that natural talent of music that seems to be so easy for all the men in my family. I could sing a mean karaoke, though. So back to that December 27th morning. While my father was giving his message, he had that crowd crying and then laughing all in the same 10 minutes. About halfway through his message, he started to get a bit winded. He then grabbed his chest and was forced to sit down. People surrounded him and started praying for him. It was a really strange feeling watching this situation unfold. I felt numb as the ambulance took him away. I knew in my heart, though, that he'd be fine. I mean, my dad had prayed for people. God had used him to pray for people to be healed. I mean, I felt like if I was with my dad during any natural disaster, I'd be completely fine. Nothing would happen to me because God has our back, and my dad has the power of God. He was my protector. He was my hero, my strength. He died. The next few days were a blur, you guys. There were hundreds of people everywhere, and I was suffocating. I was in shock, and I was extremely confused. That's the day that my faith was shaken to my core. Have you ever experienced loss? Something so tragic you felt like you might never recover? Tony Robbins once said, "Pain happens when your model of the world doesn't match your life conditions. Suffering happens when your model of the world doesn't match your life conditions and you feel powerless to change it." Well, my model of the world definitely did not match what happened that December day, and I felt powerless to change it. But that suffering I experienced that day was the very thing, you guys, that ignited my path of searching. I was hungry for understanding. Sorry about that, that was getting trippy. I was desperate for answers. Over the next several years, I replaced music and TV with audiobooks. I swapped my marriage for the gym, and I have another speech on that one. I changed the way that I perceived life. Thank you. This is not probably one of the best things. I learned that my thoughts not only determined my mental health, but it affected my physical body as well. I went on to lose close to 200 pounds. I got out of debt. Staying out has been a challenge. Just as your mouth salivated when you were visualizing the lemon, your body, or your mind and your emotions respond to your thought patterns. We have hundreds of thoughts every day. Obviously, we can't control them. It seems so impossible, but just like when your body responds to healthy eating, your thought process responds to healthy listening. The loss of my father was the hardest thing I've ever experienced in my entire life. You really never truly understand until you go through it. But I do know that that loss and that pain is what prepared me for my purpose and for my destiny. That struggle is what catapulted me into like the most powerful place of discovery and expansion. It gave me, I would say, a fire, more of a passion and a purpose. Do you want to know what your purpose is? Look at your pain. Joel Osteen once said, don't just go through it, grow through it. We'll always have times of pain, but we can choose how long we suffer. Sometimes I think life's kind of like boot camp for all eternity. So I embrace it. My father's job here is done, and he's passed me the baton. Dad, I miss you. Thank you for giving me life and inspiring my story. Madam Toastmaster.